Hey guys, just wanted to make my first video on a topic that it's been on my mind the most out of really anything over the past week or so. Um, I've recently gone through a series of very, very heartbreaking losses, and it's been something that I've had to grapple with a lot. Um, I've had a extensive mental health history in the past, and it's been something that I've struggled with for a long time, um, to the point where I've unfortunately made attempts on my own life, but that was many years ago. But under the same sort of duress, I've faced a period of depression very recently, and I wanted to talk about the kind of thought process that I have had going into this kind of situation. So, in the midst of losing others and having losing others in the sense of their deaths and also losing others in the sense of not having them in my life anymore, I've really struggled with the concept of what it means to be happy, what it means to be successful. For a long time, especially a couple months ago, I thought that I had maybe finally reached a point where I would consider myself happy. I mean, sure, I believe that pretty much everyone experiences moments in their life where they feel happy. Everyone experiences moments in their life when they don't feel happy. But for the most part, even when I had happy experiences, I wouldn't really consider myself a happy person until recently. But then, with just the way that life goes, I've now found myself in a bit of a slump, a bit of a depression once again. I have a mentor in my life, a very important mentor. He's a coach of a team that I'm in. For the past school year, as we've been preparing for competitions, there's one thing that he always makes sure that we know before and shortly after competitions. He calls it the 24-hour rule. Essentially, the premise of the 24-hour rule is that regardless of what happens during our competition, at the end of the competition, we have 24 hours to mourn the consequences or celebrate the consequences. We have 24 hours to feel bad. We have 24 hours to say to ourselves, I wish I could have done better, or I really messed up. We have 24 hours to really beat ourselves up and feel the emotion that we need to feel when we don't perform the way that we want to. This is a very productive practice for the most part, as it allows you to really reflect, albeit in a harsh manner. But that's where the 24-hour aspect of it comes in. Because the most important part of this rule is that once the 24 hours are up, you're no longer allowed to lash out, to obsess over your failures or where you could have done better. The point of the 24-hour rule is to let you grow as a person, while still being able to reflect on your successes and failures. For a long time, I think I thought that I understood the purpose of this rule. I thought that I understood the reason that the rule was in effect. The reason being that my coach didn't want us to beat ourselves up. We have successes and we have failures, and that's a part of life. We shouldn't let that dictate our value. But it wasn't until the end of the year, when he was saying goodbye to us, that he let us know one of the really key components as to why we use the 24-hour rule. He proposed the idea that success and happiness is truly, truly subjective. He put forth the idea that because of how, if we buy into it that it is subjective, we can determine our own success, our own happiness. Well, on paper this sounds very simple. It's very much harder to enforce in your actual life. It's much easier said than done. But to really pick at the rule, we need to understand it. The idea that happiness and success is subjective has been something that I've been thinking a lot and has been helping me a lot in this dark time in my life. I've been considering the idea that comparison is the thief of joy. There have been many, many, many things have happened in my life, but truly the way that I respond to them is up to me. I say this because if we look at it, there are billions of people in this world. And honestly, there's always going to be someone who's better than you. I don't know if you've heard it, but there's a phrase that I often hear on videos of like a kid playing piano and he's a prodigy. It's like no matter how good you are at something, there's always a kid out there doing it better. And I think because of the world we live in today, where we can access information so easily, and the just sheer amount of population and technology that we have, it's truly hard to say that you can definitively be better or best at something. There's so many different people, so many moving pieces at play. That is why it's so important to remain subjective in this idea. And I'll share a little bit more why. I'll use social media as a pertinent example. As of right now, besides recording this video, I've been taking a break from social media for my mental health, and that's for a lot of reasons. But the number one reason being that when I'm on social media, all I see is negative reinforcement that everyone else's lives are so much better than mine, which just makes me internalize the depression that I'm feeling even more. This is because what we see on social media is curated to showcase the best of what people want to show. We're not seeing the true lives of people, we're seeing what they want us to see. And when we begin to have that as our only source of information, it becomes very easy to internalize your own doubts and struggles, when the fact is that everyone has their own doubts and struggles. When we're on something like social media, we can't really tell what is objective truth. This leads us to feeling inferior in many ways, whether it be by our skill, talent, the way that our lives are, economic status, etc. There's lots and many of factors that people can use social media, whether deliberately or not, to harm others. And it's for this reason that your happiness and success can't be determined by factors like that. You can't wait for someone to tell you that you're happy. Well, I don't think many people are deliberately doing that. I think for the most part, we see things in the movies, we see things on social media that let us think we know what the idea of love is, what we know the idea of success and happiness. But truly, it's a personalized experience for everyone. And the only way you're ever going to come at peace with yourself is when you make that realization. Because even if you are someone who is egregiously successful, you can always look at something that you're doing and think, why can't I do this better? Why am I not better? Despite, even if you're a successful person, it's something that everyone can internalize. There's definitely value to always being able to criticize yourself and always wanting to grow, but it's different when you internalize that. But by changing your perspective and realizing that your success is subjective to your own personal goals, you can really find your own definition of happiness, which is what I'm truly trying to get at here. Happiness is something that only you can control. Now, outside circumstances, that's definitely different. But the way that I've been viewing it, and honestly, one of the only reasons that I haven't made the egregious mistake of making an attempt on my life when I've been going through this period is realizing that I don't have to be the success that the world tells me that I have to be. I have my own personal goals, ambitions. I want to love, I want to be loved, just like everyone else. But by realizing that rather than comparing myself to others in success, I can compare myself to myself. Circling back to the competitions of this school year, the very important part of the 24-hour rule is while you do have 24 hours to compare yourself to others and wonder how you could do better, the real point that it's getting at is that after you experience those emotions after the 24 hours, it becomes less about you being successful in regard to other people and more about your own personal success. Rather than thinking, this person is better than me, celebrate that that person did well. And make a change in your own life to be better for yourself. That is what personal happiness is. It takes away jealousy, comparison, and envy, as you can truly work on just becoming the best person that you are. Because if you are thinking it in the sense that there are better people out there and I'm never going to be perfect, then you're never going to be truly happy. But when you shift your mindset to instead be deliberating and thinking about, hey, maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is that I'm just a little bit better than I was yesterday. Maybe the point is that I tried my best and I'm proud of what I did. Maybe the point is something else entirely that you discover for yourself. That is really what it's about. It's about finding that own definition, that own subjectivity. Because when you do find that subjectivity in goals and ambitions and realize that you're making gains toward it, you stop looking at competitions, for example, as a competition. Rather than competing with others and making others my enemy, I see them as people first, and myself as my competitor. But not in a toxic way where I am my own enemy, but in a way where I strive to become a better person in general. I think that that is what my coach and mentor has been trying to help me realize. Things get bad, and things suck. But once I stop trying to compare myself to others, and to expectations that I have about what is happiness, I can realize that maybe happiness is in those little moments. Maybe happiness isn't something we see in the movies or some cliche that we think we know. Happiness is different for every one of you. Success is going to be different for you than it is for me. Some people will only feel successful if they're the president. Some people will just feel successful knowing that they can afford to put a roof over their heads. Some people will be successful just if they get a good night's sleep or have a good laugh in their day. And that's really what it is. When you stop looking at the world as a competition and start looking at the world in a way where it's about achieving goals, not beating others, that's when you can truly put that selflessness that you need to unlock what I would consider true happiness to be. Maybe this one was a little rambly, but it's been something that's helped me, but it has been on my mind extensively. Trying to rationalize with the fact that right now in my life, things don't seem to be getting better. Right now in my life, I only see pain. I only see loss and heartbreak. But rather than defining myself by my losses, what I'm attempting to do here, and I say attempting because it's not something I've been successful with yet. It's been an effort that I've been trying to make. It's been something that I've been striving to change. But it's not just that easily. I have much ways to go, and as I'm preaching these things, there are many aspects of it that I myself have not fully followed yet. But I'm striving to get to the point where I can find my own version of success, because I think that is where true happiness lies. It lies in that connection and that love that you can have for people that when the way you looked at the world before, you might not be loving or looking at them that way. And I think that's really the most important thing that I needed to say in this video as I reflect on my life. I don't have much more to say other than the things that I hope that we all know. Even myself in this state that I am. You matter. You're not alone. And the world is a better place with you in it. You only live one life, so live it to the maximum potential that you can. Become the hero of your own story. I hope you guys enjoyed or found any sort of value in watching this, and I hope you all have a lovely, lovely day. See ya.